Shalom YouTube, hey guys, it's Fletch. Welcome back to OTH. So today I wanted to talk to you about irreconcilable differences here in the good old US of A. And just like in a divorce at times, both parties have gone in a different direction, believing that their direction is right. And ultimately what ends up happening is a nasty divorce. And it could start out okay, but then eventually, right, one side pushes a little too far, so then the other side pushes a little too far in addition to how far extra that they were pushed, and so it just keeps getting pushed further and further as it goes out and out. And I think perhaps that's what we're seeing in our country right now. And so I just wanted to share a couple things with those of you out there who tend to be liberty-minded. The first is the left is not playing by your rules. The left does not play by your, let's see, how would I say this? Your sense or your sensibilities of the way that you think our country should be, the way our country used to be. They see it for what they think it is and what they want it to be. And there was actually their rule book, so to speak, is Saul Alinsky's 1971 book called Rules for Radicals. And basically in this book, what it says is that because you are on the quote-unquote moral high ground, that whatever means that it takes to bring about your cause, you are justified in doing. And I'm sure before someone gets to, oh, well, the right's done that too over the years. Yeah, you're right, they probably have. However, that has nothing to do with the situation that we find ourselves in today, right now. And it's not the quote-unquote radical right that's out protesting and burning down colleges and shutting down airports and roads and all of that. So a couple things to think about and a couple things to remember here. So like we just talked, number one, they're not playing by your rules, and understand that. And whatever means they justify necessary to bring about the changes they see fit, that's what they're going to do. That's what they are doing. So it's time to recognize that for what it is. Secondly, if you are a freedom-loving person, I would not go to any of these protests or demonstrations. And if you hear of anything that's going on, I would highly, highly advise you to steer clear. And it's only a matter of time before the government, as it is going to put up with this foolishness and these petulant children out throwing a temper tantrum and looking to get their participation medal for protesting. And for whatever it's worth, right, something to think about. And should you find yourself in a situation where unexpectedly you find yourself in the middle of a intersection or a highway or something like that that's closed with protesters, those of you that aren't old enough to remember this, get on Google or YouTube and search Reginald Denny. And during the LA riots, Reginald Denny was a white man that was drug out of the tractor trailer that he was driving, and he was beaten to death. So does that mean that's what's going to happen to you? No, it doesn't. However, it is certainly something that can happen to you, right? And you got a Trump sticker on your car and you're in that demonstration or whatever, then something to think about. And if you are one of those people that have found this video because you are one of those protesters, that is also something that you need to think about, right? If you are blocking a road and you are pounding on someone's car and they are in fear of their life, and there is case precedence of things like Reginald Denny happening, take of that or make of that what you will. And that's a hard road to hoe, we'll just put it that way. Like we've been talking about, the left wants to push this to basically tantamount to a civil war, right? The United States of America is never going to allow California to secede. It's just not going to happen. And so the only thing that, if they push hard enough, the only thing that will happen or might happen is a civil war. And when and if that happens, guys, obviously that's not going to be pretty, and that's not something that any of us wants. So hopefully cooler heads will prevail, and we won't find ourselves in that situation. But more importantly, should it happen, are you prepared? Honestly, ask yourself, are you prepared? If you got the call at 3 a.m. that civil war had broken out, and there were angry anti-Trump demonstrators in the metropolitan area near you, and would you be willing to drop everything and help go defend your community? Assuming that you're like a single guy, right? And you're not leaving behind a wife and kids unprotected at home, so on and so forth. And next, right? What if? Okay, let's just look at this for a minute. What if they decide, okay, so we're gonna throw them off guard. We're gonna start going to small communities, and on church day, and we're gonna assault the church while they're worshiping. That could happen. That is something that has happened in the past, right? Be aware of those things. Are you prepared? Is your church prepared? Something to think about, right? And your level of preparedness, your level of readiness is up to you. And here's something that might hit home a little hard for some of us more than others. I recently took Viking Pistol 1. And in that video, I was watching myself shoot. And in that video, my shirt's hanging out a little bit, but man, I know that there's some gut under there too. And that's not an easy thing for me to take. When I was a young man, I was slim, fit, right? I had at one point in time a very serious wrestler, and or I took, well, probably a better way to put it is I took wrestling very seriously. And I had dangerously low body fat. I mean, I was that trim and fit. And nowadays, that's not the case, right? I've had several back surgeries, had several periods of, months on end where I was stuck in bed, and, you just can't, in a lot of ways, you can't help but put on weight in that situation, right? But the point or the important thing is that during the times when I am able to do something about it, am I willing to do something about it? Or am I allowing myself to just be a keyboard commando? And if my life were on the line, or that of my family, would I actually be able to do something about it? And that's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of us. And for me, that's why, today, right now, I'm out walking, and I'm going to walk about 3 miles at a very brisk pace. Not quite airborne shuffle, but not a leisurely stroll either. And working up to carrying a pack again and some different things like that at a brisk pace, right? I can carry a pack, but you know what I'm saying. Build up to it. And could you do it? If you had to right now, could you walk 3 miles? And if the answer is no, now is the time to do something about it. Get out, make a positive change in your life today. And while we're at it, one thing that people have started to ask is, hey Fletch, don't you own anything other than camouflage? Sure I do. I have a green shirt, and I have green shorts. Yeah, there's something to be said with being prepared to blend into the nature rather than sticking out like a sore thumb. So there's that. And then also the second part is, I like wearing camo, so I wear what I like. But as long as we're asking questions, let me ask you a question. Why do you care so much about what people think of you? It's really none of our business what others think of us. Hope you're having a great day. Shalom.